Welcome to the Knowledge Navigator. Today we embark on a captivating journey through history, delving into the intricate and multifaceted Cold War. This era, spanning roughly from the mid-1940 SS to the early 1990s, continues to shape our world in profound ways. Before we begin, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest explorations. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your fellow history enthusiasts. The seeds of the Cold War were sown in the aftermath of World War II. The world, exhausted and devastated by conflict, witnessed the emergence of two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. These former allies, united against Nazi Germany, found themselves at odds as ideological differences and geopolitical ambitions took center stage. The United States, championing democracy and capitalism, sought to contain the spread of communism, viewing it as a threat to freedom and the established world order. The Soviet Union, under the leadership of Joseph Stalin, aimed to expand its sphere of influence, driven by Marxist-Leninist ideology and a desire to safeguard its security. This clash of ideologies, coupled with mutual suspicion and a lack of trust, laid the foundation for a protracted period of geopolitical tension, rivalry, and indirect conflict that would come to be known as the Cold War. At the heart of the Cold War lay a fundamental clash of ideologies: capitalism versus communism. The United States, advocating for free markets, individual liberty, and democratic governance, stood in stark contrast to the Soviet Union's embrace of a centrally planned economy, state control, and a one-party system. Capitalism, as espoused by the United States, emphasized private ownership, competition, and the pursuit of profit as drivers of innovation and economic growth. Communism, on the other hand, sought to create a classless society where the means of production were owned collectively and wealth was distributed equally. This ideological divide shaped every aspect of the Cold War, influencing domestic policies, foreign relations, and the global balance of power. It fueled a propaganda war, with each side seeking to discredit the other and win hearts and minds around the world. The Cold War was characterized by a series of proxy wars and international crises that brought the United States and the Soviet Union into indirect conflict, often teetering on the brink of direct military confrontation. These proxy wars, fought primarily in the developing world, served as testing grounds for each superpower's military capabilities and resolve. The Korean War, the Vietnam War, and the Soviet-Afghan War stand as stark reminders of the human cost of this ideological struggle. Millions of lives were lost in these conflicts, often caught in the crossfire of a larger geopolitical chess game. Beyond these proxy wars, the Cold War witnessed numerous crises that brought the world to the edge of nuclear war. The Berlin blockade, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Able Archer 83 exercise serve as chilling reminders of the ever-present threat of nuclear annihilation that loomed large during this era. Perhaps the most defining characteristic of the Cold War was the constant specter of nuclear war. Both the United States and the Soviet Union amassed vast arsenals of nuclear weapons, each capable of obliterating the other many times over. This unprecedented destructive power cast a long shadow over the world, shaping international relations and influencing popular culture. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, emerged as a terrifying deterrent. Each side recognized that any nuclear attack would inevitably result in retaliation, leading to the annihilation of both the aggressor and the defender. This chilling logic, while preventing a nuclear holocaust, did little to ease the anxieties of a world living under the constant threat of annihilation. The nuclear arms race consumed vast resources and fueled a climate of fear and paranoia. The development of increasingly powerful weapons, from atomic bombs to hydrogen bombs to intercontinental ballistic missiles, only heightened the stakes and made the unthinkable a distinct possibility. While the Cold War played out on the global stage, it was the lives of ordinary people, particularly those living in the Soviet Bloc, that were most profoundly affected. The Soviet Union, seeking to consolidate its control over Eastern Europe, established satellite states ruled by communist regimes often characterized by repression, censorship, and economic stagnation. The Berlin Wall, erected in 1961, stood as a potent symbol of the division between East and West, a physical manifestation of the ideological Iron Curtain that had descended across Europe. Life behind the Iron Curtain was marked by limitations on personal freedoms, restrictions on travel and expression, and a pervasive sense of fear and mistrust. Despite the hardships, there were acts of resistance and dissent. Individuals and groups yearning for freedom and democracy challenged the authority of their communist governments, often facing severe consequences for their actions. Their courage and sacrifice serve as a testament to the enduring human spirit in the face of oppression. The Cold War rivalry extended far beyond the battlefield, encompassing every facet of human endeavor, from espionage to the space race. Both superpowers invested heavily in intelligence gathering and covert operations, seeking to gain an advantage over the other. Espionage became a dangerous game of cat and mouse, with spies operating in the shadows, stealing secrets, and attempting to influence events in their favor. The space race captured the world's imagination, becoming a symbolic arena for the competition between the two superpowers. The Soviet Union's launch of Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, in 1957, shocked the United States and ignited a race to conquer space. The space race drove technological innovation at an unprecedented pace, leading to breakthroughs in rocketry, communications, and materials science. It also had a profound cultural impact, inspiring generations of scientists, engineers, and dreamers. By the 1980s, the Cold War began to show signs of thawing. The Soviet Union, bogged down in an unwinnable war in Afghanistan and facing mounting economic problems at home, found itself increasingly unable to maintain its grip on Eastern Europe. The election of Mikhail Gorbachev as General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in 1985 marked a turning point in the Cold War. Gorbachev's policies of glasnost, or openness, and perestroika, or restructuring, aimed to reform the Soviet system from within, but they also unleashed forces that would ultimately lead to its demise. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, a pivotal moment in Cold War history, symbolized the crumbling of the Iron Curtain and the yearning for freedom and democracy that had been suppressed for decades. The reunification of Germany in 1990 further signaled the end of the Cold War order. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked the definitive end of the Cold War. The once mighty superpower, weakened by internal contradictions, economic stagnation, and the centrifugal forces of nationalism, dissolved into its constituent republics. The end of the Cold War ushered in a new world order, one characterized by the unipolar dominance of the United States. The ideological struggle that had defined the latter half of the 20th century gave way to a more complex and multipolar world, with new challenges and opportunities emerging on the global stage. The Cold War may be over, but its legacy continues to reverberate in the 21st century. The ideological divide between East and West may have faded, but new fault lines have emerged, often rooted in historical grievances, economic disparities, and geopolitical rivalries. The rise of new global powers, such as China, has challenged the post-Cold War order, leading to a more multipolar world with shifting alliances and power dynamics. The proliferation of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction remains a pressing concern, casting a long shadow over international security. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, it is essential to remember the lessons of the Cold War, particularly the importance of diplomacy, dialogue, and cooperation in resolving international disputes and building a more peaceful and prosperous world. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Cold War. We've only scratched the surface of this complex and fascinating period in history. Be sure to check out our other videos on the Knowledge Navigator, where we delve into a wide range of historical topics. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with your friends. Until next time, keep exploring the past.